Good morning. How is everybody? So welcome to my channel. My name's Adam, and today we're going to be talking about the Model Y. Now, I think this is going to be hopefully a little bit of a different perspective because I am a Model X owner and I have a P100D. So I am thinking about getting the Model Y for my wife. Now, this is a vehicle that has recently come out. This is there's the Model 3, and there's the Model S and the Model X, which spells sexy, as most of you guys who follow Tesla know. And now we have the Model Y, which is pretty much, I would say, going to be their biggest hit. It is kind of the car, that crossover SUV that everybody wants. It gives you, that kind of low car ride with the practicality of having a lot of extra room and the hatchback design. Because like you can see with this particular car, you have quite a bit of storage space. And one of the things I do immediately off the bat like over mine is the way you fold the seats down is a lot easier than the X. The X, you have to find a little button right here, and then you can fold them down. So that is, look how much space you get back here. So that is a really nice feature of having this vehicle. Plus, you get the space here, okay? And you get the front trunk as well, which between all of the different options, I mean, this is almost, considering its size, one of the best cars to take to the Costco's of the world, right? Or to the beach. I mean, you could probably get majority of the stuff in that you want to take, which is nice. Now, I've been living with this car now for just a little while. Took it on loan from Tesla last night. Now, it's interesting, the gentleman who spec'd this vehicle didn't end up moving forward for financing reasons. So it has the performance package, but it doesn't have the performance package upgrades that you typically will see. So one of the ways you can tell the performance package is in the brakes. So you can see here, these are just the standard ugly brakes. The performance package, they're red. Okay, so you have red brake calipers, and then you also get the carbon fiber. Well, I don't know if it actually is carbon fiber, but I'm pretty sure it is. But you get the lip here on the edge, excuse me, on the very edge right here, okay? So that's another way you can tell the performance version. Now, this one does have the new lights on it, and frankly, I don't love the spec. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything against this particular color of silver, but it doesn't necessarily, do anything for me. It's pretty bland. So if I was gonna spec a Y, which I'm getting ready to do, I'm gonna go ahead and do white. So I'm gonna do white with the black wheels and a black interior, okay? A couple of things about the vehicle as far as getting into it. Right here, you have to push and then pull. So it's kind of like an Aston Martin. So I actually have an Aston Martin Vanquish right over there. So I'm familiar with this. A lot of times I think you're gonna get, especially people like myself who have an X, they're thinking they're gonna push it. It's just kind of unusual. So you push and then you pull, okay? A couple of also notes on the vehicle here. Quite a bit of space back here. It is absolutely practical, okay? So, I've got my chair pretty far back as far as I would like to sit. And you can see here, I've got a good few inches. I have vents right here with USB ports, but again, it's not like anything luxurious where I can adjust the settings. The moonroof is one of the partying tricks of both the Model Y and Model S, and frankly Model 3. It's one of my favorite features about the car. But beyond that, it's very standard, very similar to the Model 3. You've got cheap plastic, again, cheap kind of plastic here. It's got the vegan leather. You've got the B pillars here, which are pretty much the standard economy car. One little nice feature is they did put some Alcantara kind of suede feeling material here. They did give you an extra stitch line there, which is nice, but nothing special here. There is no doorknobs in this car. This right here is what you use to open the door. But again, like the reason why you buy a Model Y is not because you want to look flashy, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's an ugly car. It's got some nice lines. It's got the standard, Tesla look. but I personally dislike how much space they put in here. The suspension, unlike the Model X, is unadjustable. So, you know, this is pretty much the way it's always gonna look. So really, you buy it because you want to have zero emissions, but because this one is really fast, you know, look, you can see here, because this one is really fast, it's fun to drive. You know, this is the performance version, okay? So you buy it for the full self-driving, you know, you buy it for the fact that you're not polluting and causing massive wildfires like that are going on right now in California, which people can't even see. It looks, night is turning into day right now. It's September of 2020, so just an unbelievable time, and very needed that we get off fossil fuels as soon as possible. A couple of things I'll run you through. I personally like driving in sport mode. I like driving in regenerative mode. This is, you know, if you watch my driving portion of the video, this really keeps you, as far as take your foot off the accelerator pedal, it slows you down. The sound system in this car is quite good. I do like it. I think it works really well. It sounds not as good as the high fidelity sound that comes with the P100D with the upgraded premium package and everything, but it still sounds really, really well. The touchscreen is a little more faster than mine, which is from 2016 because it has the new processor and everything. This is the AP2 hardware. So, you know, in general, though, I'm not a fan of having everything here. I kind of wish I did have the screen here, or at least a pop-up. You know, if they had some kind of a display here of your speed, that would be a nice addition for Tesla. I also, as I've mentioned, when you watch the driving portion, I dislike the steering wheel. It looks like something that you'd buy from like a Mattel Games or something of the world. It's just really, it looks like a child steering wheel. That's something that I hope as they at least change it out in the S and the X to something much more aggressive and cool, you know, because this is essentially how you interact with the car, and should be really nice. Okay, storage options, you got plenty of storage here. Look how much space they give you, which is really nice right there. Okay, you have this kind of material here. You can set your phone, which is nice. It won't slide too much. I also believe it charges it. One of the things that is really interesting, though, and I'm mixed on this. I think right now I'm more on the fence that I don't like it, is, I don't know, have you guys seen the key that comes with the vehicle? So one of the features that I think is really unusual about this car, and let me go ahead and grab it for a second. All right, so this is the key. And I mean, you know, again, very, very unusual that they couldn't spend a few bucks and give you a couple of key fobs. I don't really get that. So this, you know, they basically told me that you got to use your phone, but I don't know about you. I don't know about you guys, but my phone dies. Excuse me, my phone dies all the time. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I keep this on me. And in order to start the vehicle, you have to place it right here, put your foot on the brakes, and that turns the car on. Now then, so this doesn't slide around and you don't, you know, lose it down your seat, you're gonna have to put it here. So kind of unusual. I would absolutely spend $150 and get the key fob. I think that would make plenty of sense. Okay. The other fun thing about it is, you know, you have entertainment options, which I'm sure you guys have heard about. If you haven't, they've added new games now. So you have Fallout Shelter, which I don't have on mine. You got the Beach Buggy Racing, which actually uses your steering wheel. Some of these use these buttons right here, you know, up and down to control. So, you know, this is a lot of fun. You know, this also has the ability to watch Netflix and surf the internet, which again is very, very cool. It's really nice when you're supercharging because you can spend 15, 20, 30, sometimes as much as an hour charging your vehicle up. Okay, and it works pretty well, I gotta say. So technology wise, this is the value prop of the car, right? You have the full self-driving, which I'll show you in the driving portion of this video. But interior quality, I mean, you know, you've got a little bit of this wood grain, which is nice, but beyond that, nobody's gonna walk into this vehicle and be like blown away by how nice and how much quality it has. That's just not what they're gonna say. Now, as soon as you hit the accelerator pedal, right, they're gonna be like, dang, this thing's fast and it's fun and it's comfortable, it rides really good. You can see as of doing this video, they're asking 55,690, 3.5 seconds to 60 with a 290 mile range. That's pretty awesome. So I would personally recommend, as I've said in the driving portion of the video a few times, you go with the long range though, because 4.8 seconds is still wicked fast, and the extra range you're really gonna like. So I don't really know if you need to have, you know, specifically the extra $10,000 performance package, but it is cool. You get the red calipers. You can see here they do change up the look of the vehicle just a little bit, a couple of extra little details, but in general I would probably encourage you to go for the long range version. If there's one thing I really like about my P100D, it's the speed. One thing I really dislike is the fact that it's always needing to be charged. This is another extra storage component, and you also have the ability to have, it looks like, some extra storage down here. So plenty of storage options. So again, I think one of the things that I really like about the vehicle is how much room you get, you know, between the back, the front trunk. So I'm gonna now go to the driving portion of the video. You know, I like the car, I do. I think for my wife, it's pretty much gonna be the perfect car. It's safe. You know, she can get in from work, she can go ahead and drive all the way home, mostly having it drive itself. And that's the reason why I think it's a good vehicle for her. But does it turn my gears as a car guy? Not necessarily. Apologize, a lot of construction in the neighborhood. It doesn't turn my gears, right? I love the Model X because it has the pop-up doors. It's a better looking vehicle. Mine has the 22s, the red brake calipers, the carbon fiber interior, right? I've got a video on my channel that's got well over 1,000 likes, so feel free to check that out. But I do think that for 45, 50 grand, this is a lot of car for the money. The technology is phenomenal. Now you're gonna see the driving portion of the video, and we'll take it from there. All right, guys, so let me take you on a little test drive here as we have sunset. This will be a really beautiful drive, one of my favorite areas of Tennessee, which is where I live. And this is one of the fun things about having a Tesla. If you see somebody coming, you can do that. It is just that fast. You absolutely have all the power you're ever gonna need. It is sports car fast, right? And not only sports car fast, like really fast sports car. I think it does 0 to 60 in like 3.5, 3.6 seconds. So an extremely fast car. One of the things that I immediately noticed about the Model Y versus the X is how much lighter it feels. The Model X is extremely heavy vehicle, especially mine because it's the P100D, so it has the 100 kilowatt battery. I think they've just been able to make the batteries smaller, the car lighter. Now, grant you, this doesn't have quite as much of the creature comforts like the air suspension, the 22-inch wheels. It doesn't have the suede and the 6-seat configuration. So obviously this is going to be just a naturally lighter vehicle. But at the end of the day, you feel that, is my point. It's very sporty. I have it in sport mode right now. And I gotta say, it's fun to drive. It really, really is. It's a good time. That's kind of surprising. It kind of drives like a car. It's you know, I've got it right now in sport mode, and I've got it right here. You can see I've got it in sport mode. I've got the acceleration in sport mode. I like the way the steering feels in sport. In comfort and standard, it's just fine. You might enjoy that more, but I'm more of a driver's driver, so I really like just the feeling of it. In sport mode, it's got just a little bit of give, but in the end of the day, it's pretty darn like responsive. You know, you got a little play, sure, but in the end of the day, it's going to react to wherever you want to go. I do have regenerative braking in standard, which means if I take my foot off the accelerator pedal, it slows down pretty darn aggressively, like you were applying the brake. So, you know, that is one thing. Why does everybody keep flashing me? That's the second person that's flashed me. Like, do I have, the lights are on, so I'm not sure what they're necessarily flashing me for, but whatever. All right, anyway, driving The performance version is wonderful. It's got all the performance, like I said, but I would probably encourage you to get the long range. It's still fast, it's still fun, and I think you guys will really appreciate the extra, 20 to 25% range. Maybe it's not quite that much, could be as low as 15%, but the 15 to 20% range is a big deal. When you take trips and all that, like, that's really going to be something that you're going to appreciate, you're going to enjoy, the extra range. It means you're going to supercharge a lot less, and you name it. Okay, that's one of the pet peeves I have about the Model X. It really consumes the power. Now, one of the things I really do like about this particular car over the Model X is the energy consumption is averaging roughly 100 less per watt per mile, so 100 less watts per mile than mine does, even though these are both performance versions. So that's a really nice, that's great, right? Let's be honest, like, I wish my car had more range. If the Model X was able to get 400 on a charge, that is like the best car ever, okay? That is its only negative, its only real drawback, is that it just does not get very good range, and it makes it extremely difficult to take long trips with, because you will absolutely need to supercharge it, and probably more than once. So you're gonna add an extra 25 to 50 minutes to your trip, depending on which supercharger station, the use at the supercharger station, and things like that. And if you're gonna go and do a 10 or 12 hour trip, you're gonna have to do that 2, maybe even 3 times. Be prepared to go to a supercharger that has no bays available, so you might be waiting for 15 or 20 minutes even getting into the charger. So that's a big issue, which is why I would probably lean for the long range version, and you're gonna save money because the performance version is more expensive. In the end of the day, it's like the regular version's quick. Like, you don't necessarily need that extra, that extra get up and go, in my opinion. Now, I love the P100D for myself, but for my wife, which is, who I'm thinking of getting this vehicle for, I'm going to get her the P100, or excuse me, I'm going to get her the regular long-range version all day, every day. I just think it makes a lot more sense, okay? Now, as far as showcasing some of the, the technology, I don't like that everything's here. This is very similar to the Model 3. Obviously, you guys have probably heard a lot about the Model 3. I do wish that, like the Model X, it had the instrument cluster here. That would be preferred. But in the end of the day, in order to keep costs down, that's what they decided to do. Another pet peeve of mine is I think the interior quality is very similar to the Model 3, so it's cheaper. You have soft plastics. The B pillar here basically feels like economy car inexpensive, but there is some nice touches with it, right? The wood grain here is nice, so it's not a total loss by any means. It just, my impression of the vehicle is nothing special, right? The Model X does have an NS, frankly, has a better interior quality, but they're a lot more expensive. So just keep in mind, this is the economy version, even though it costs, $50,000 to $60,000. One of the things I do like about the interior, though, is the design feature right here. That is really clutch. I love that you can insert that, and that it's very large, and you could easily put a gun in there, you name it. So that's really a helpful feature. Okay. All right. Well, I think you guys will love the car. Full self-driving is one of the best features of Teslas. And if you've never experienced full self-driving, I'm gonna demonstrate it for you here in just a second, but you're definitely gonna want to go ahead and drive it. There's really no way for me to explain how full self-driving works. You just got to feel it yourself. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and show you full self-driving now. So in order to do that, you're gonna pull on this pad down twice. That activates full self-driving. I've got no hands on it. You can see here we're coming into sunset, and you watch. I won't drive. It's gonna figure out this road. It's a pretty sketchy road, I gotta be honest. If it can navigate this, it can pretty much navigate anything. So it's getting better and better. We're in September of 2020. it's only a matter of time before these vehicles just drive themselves. They're part of the fleet. I mean, Elon Musk's vision is going to come true. Of that, I'm almost sure. The technology is just there. But I gotta say, like, you know, it works, and that's one of the biggest value propositions for this vehicle, is that because I don't have to worry about my wife, right? She leaves a hard day at the hospital. You can see here it's popping up with the message. She leaves a hard day at the hospital. She jumps in her car. She autopilots home. I love that. I think that's it just gives me peace of mind, right? Because she works really hard, and at the end of the day, you can see here it's popping up. So you're gonna have to consistently pay attention enough, at least to grab either the volume control or the steering wheel. Okay. Now it'll also register the speed. So you see that sign right there is 50 miles an hour. So I can now increase the speed if I want. Okay. Oh, actually, look at that. It didn't pick up the 50 mile per hour. So that's a perfect example. It's not perfect, okay? In fact, my Model X probably would have picked up the 50 mile an hour speed sign and allowed me to make it go a little bit faster. So again, full self-driving is wonderful. For highways, it's phenomenal. I mean, you can see, though, it's working pretty good. It can be a little sketchy, though. Like, I mean, it did that fine, but it makes me want to take over, right? But in the end of the day, yes, it works extremely well. I really don't even have any problems with AP1. So full self-driving is just going to be a level above that. I think it's a winner. I really do. I think that's the reason why everybody wants a Tesla over any other electric car is the fact that it just works, and it's such a nice thing to have. You know, for highway driving, for interstates, you can't beat it. I mean, you literally put your GPS location in, and it'll just take you there. So, from that point of view, it's one of the best features of the Model 3, Model S, Model X, whatever, and of course now in the Model Y. To disengage, you just hit this, and it just works, you know? It's a really, really nice feature to have, I gotta say. Man, these lights are bright. Look at that. Shoot. Alright, I'm going to give you one more speed run here, so just to give you a taste of how fast this thing is. Woo! And that's 60. I mean, it's got it where it counts. Again, I would still get not the performance version. I would get the long range version, just because I think in the practical uses of it, you're going to appreciate having extra range versus having that little extra bit of performance. But again, if you're not taking road trips with it, then get the performance version, because it's not really that much more expensive. It's not like my Model X, which was $61,500 for the performance package. For the P100D version of that car, that's obviously insane. $60,000 for the performance spec. I think it's what, like, I think it's somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000 or $10,000 to get the performance version over the regular. So, you know, that's not too bad. But again, I would encourage you guys, and this is just from personal experience, to go for the longer range, because that is the one big drawback. You know, I'm averaging 280 watts a mile, and you can see here it says I've got 233 miles left, but that's probably not that accurate. I bet you on a full charge this car is going to get 240 to 250, and with the long range version fully charged, it's probably going to get closer to its stated range, so it should be getting around 300. My car is rated for 285, and I cannot get it to get more than 220 unless I'm just babying the thing and not going on the highway, and I've turned off the heater and I've turned off the air conditioning. Then yeah, I can probably get close to 240 or 250, but that's it. You can forget about the 285. I don't know how the hell they got that thing to rate 285 on a charge. That's crazy, because I put that to the test a few times. In fact, I actually thought I had a problem. I was like calling Tesla up, it's like, hey, you know, what's going on? I can't get to my stated range. And they said, no, that's normal, you know, just adjust your driving style. I'm like, adjust my driving style? Like, I can't go any slower, right? So just keep that in mind, and the 22-inch wheels sure as heck don't help. So if you want more range, get the smaller diameter wheel. That is absolutely a fact. All right, I'm going to jump off here so I can get myself in.